How's everybody? Well, I hope you have your coffee. Hey, Kara. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Dana. Hey, Mary Beth. Matthew, Donald, Jason, Rick. Sunkissed, you made it. Patrick. Hey, Mary Beth. How are ya? I'm so glad all of you guys could make it. Thank you for joining me. It's coffee and chat. I hope you have yours. I've got mine. Hey, Deborah. Hey, could you be wrong? How's everybody's doing? Happy holidays. I know it's right around the corner. Hopefully everyone's ready. Steve. Hi, Patrick. Good to see you. Hey, Jim. Okay, well, I first kind of wanted to start this show off because I mean everybody's been talking about Chris Watts so much, and I really wanted to do something a little bit different. Until we sort of find out what's happening with our petitions, it's kind of a redundant, I guess, topic. Like I mean, there's really not much to talk about. We know what we feel. We kind of need to find some other topics as well as stay on top of the Chris Watts. So I wanted to just kind of do something a little bit different. Now, you guys all know me as positive. So I wanted to talk about sort of the top 5 most hated in a sense, or negatively viewed, or what have you. And see, the thing is that I don't actually hate anybody. So I'm just doing this for debate. I'm doing it to switch up the subject. And I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy it. It's a little bit of a different, hey, Lanky Jen, hey, Kara, a little bit of a different thing for today. But let me start off before we get into the top 5 people. I made a list for you guys, and you guys, I'm not here to sway you in my my mentality, and this is what I think and stuff like that. I will give you my point of view. I will give you my opinion, but it's up to you guys to sort of take this in and decide what you want for your own life and what you're okay with and opinion wise for yourself. Okay, so just to get to know me a little bit better, a lot of you don't necessarily know me, the reason why I do my channel, things like that. I am a survivor of some victim crimes. I was raped, and my story sort of started when I was 13 years old. I had lost my virginity in that exact way. I had been raped, and it was a really scary, traumatic experience. It was painful. It was something that nobody should ever have to go through in their whole entire life, in my opinion. But I survived that, only to turn around later and end up getting raped a second time when I was 15. I was at a house party. I had too much to drink, and I was having a good time, laughing and chatting, and a little bit of dancing and stuff like that. Having a really good time. However, there was a gentleman there. His nickname was Typewriter, and he sort of waited for me to pass out and just took advantage of me. I woke up in the middle of it, and I tried to stop it, and I wasn't able to. So rather than go through the pain that I had gone through the first time, I chose to relax myself and let what was happening happen versus becoming more pain from it. So I let what happened happen, and I ended up going to the police about it. And I was, I went through the rape testing and everything like that. And then I charged him. We ended up in court, and he had brought a friend with him to court, and they were the first ones in the courtroom to talk to the judge. And his friend vouched and said that I wanted it. I was taking off my clothes when I was dancing, and I didn't even get a chance to tell my story. The judge took what his witness had said and threw the case out, and he never ever did get punished for that crime. So I had to live with that. And in the in the city that I lived at the time, in the area that I lived, it was sure that I was going to run into him again. And sure enough, I did run into him again on a public transit bus. And I was petrified just to be, even though there was a bunch of people there, I was petrified to be around this guy. And all he did when he saw me was laugh. You know, he just laughed at me. And I was just like heartbroken. And that's something that I had to go through my own, healing, my own therapy, my own counseling in order to, better myself to be okay to carry on life. Right. So, I want you guys to get to know me as well as understand my reasoning for wanting to create extra revenue in my life via this method. So, I'm hoping to have your support, and I appreciate, all of your viewing and your comments and your online love towards me. It definitely fills a hole in my heart. So I appreciate that, you guys. Okay. I feel like you kind of get to know me a little bit as to why I have such a strong desire to see justice happen, why I want to see the end result to, a crime that's committed. And the reason that I share those stories with you guys in order to, get that closure. When you hear about something horrible happening, sometimes you have a little bit of an emotional attachment to it. And, finding out the end result sometimes creates for closure. So, hi, Timothy. Hi, Too Crazy Alex. Hey, Kara. Hey, Mabel. I'm so glad you guys could all make it. So today is going to be a new topic. It's not entirely going to disclude Nicole Kessinger, because I know that we're all still really, really talking about that. So let me just start off with my list here of these, top 5 people, and we'll just kind of jump right into it and talk about that a little bit. Of course, it was a good thing that I went to the police, you guys. I couldn't believe that it had happened not once but twice. And the first time I was too scared to charge the person. The second time I thought, this is wrong, and I'm not going to just, not do anything about it. So yeah, so that I think has, strengthened me over the years, but it also damaged me because of what had happened. So I try not to hold on to it. I have, like I said, done a lot of therapy and counseling and stuff like that in order to sort of, get over that. But it was definitely, a traumatic thing to go through for sure. And only we can take the control back, Mary Beth. You're right about that. Yeah. And I appreciate your sympathy, empathy. I appreciate even just, hearing me. Like it's nice for you guys to get to know the reason and as to why I sort of want justice so badly for, other cases that I come across and stuff. So yeah. So okay. So there's a little bit about me. Does everybody have their coffee? Because we're gonna need it, I think, today. I hope everybody's having a really great weekend. Everybody's having a safe weekend. It's TGIS. Thank God it's Saturday. All right. So first off on the list that I have for the top, negatively viewed people is Roseanne Barr. Roseanne was famous for her sitcom on ABC, Roseanne, and she was really loved. I mean, it was a funny comedy, and she unfortunately tweeted something really, really ignorant in regards not only to African Americans as well. She directed it towards the president of the United States, which was Obama. So it was really, really not classy. It was really not very nice. And it really put her in a bad light. Now, I'm kind of that believer of everybody makes mistakes, and maybe we should move on. She did apologize and things like that. Maybe they tried, ABC tried to replace the Roseanne show with a show called The Conners, but it wasn't as successful as the Roseanne show, and due to not having a strong view, it ended up canceling their show. So There was only a 42% like on Google as far as, the replacement of Roseanne with the Connors. So her excuse was that she had taken some Ambien and she just kind of wasn't all there, whatever the reasoning is. I believe that when you are, in the public eye that much, you really have to sort of bite your tongue and, not be so you want to be careful what you're saying and how you're saying it, because you don't who wants to offend somebody, right? So I still like Roseanne too. I think that it was good for her to come back with an apology. I think what she said was absolutely ignorant to no end, very, very, very wrong. And it was both offensive to the government as well as, like I said, African Americans. So her tweet was, of course, removed, but it had grabbed a lot of attention and had gone viral. So, people were just like, hey, what the hell? Like, you can't talk like that. You know what I mean? And to say something in this day and age like that, when you're in a country that you can, literally practically sue someone for sneezing the wrong direction, you want to be careful what you're saying to the world as you're broadcasting that under your name. So, I believe that she deserves her forgiveness in a sense, you guys. I feel like she got hated on real quick and she backtracked that. I mean, you don't want to stay in that realm, right? So, yeah, couldn't get it right. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it came out like that. It's unfortunate that she said it. If she does have some negative feelings in that way, that should have been something that was never exposed, but you know, I guess mistakes happen, right? And I mean, at what point do you go, okay, so you said something that was a little derogatory and ignorant and racist, and all right, we'll let it go and carry on. Like, I understand, ABC having to sort of renege their contract with her. They have such a huge following. To have something like that happen would have been, detrimental. And ABC News actually did lose like a 45 million in ad revenue based off of losing Roseanne's show. And I mean, that show was paying Ms. Barr like 2.25 million per season. So that was no small show, and it was very, very, very popular. So Roseanne Barr ended up choosing to settle in order to sort of save a couple hundred jobs of the cast and crew in that whole situation. And, that was really admirable in my opinion, Yeah, I don't think that she deserves to necessarily be hated on here forever. Like, she made a really bad comment, and she definitely shouldn't have talked like that, not only about her government, but as well as, an entire culture race. So, I think we make our mistakes, and you got to move on a little bit. So, she was really funny. She had a great show, and she was really entertaining. And, we have to kind of move on to, all right, you did that, you said that, let's carry on, like. So I'm glad we could talk about Roseanne a little bit together. That was really nice. And I can see that some of the comments of you guys stating that you think that, she kind of deserves the Ambien is no excuse, critters. You're 100% right on that, and just the flat out apology, I think, was in order. And, she executed that quite nicely. So I just wish she hadn't used that as the excuse. I wish she would have just apologized, but whatever. I think she was trying to avoid some of it after it happened, and it just kind of snowballed really quickly, right? So, especially when you're in the public eye, you can't talk like that. You can't necessarily express, things in a racist manner or things in a derogatory, insensitive manner, Okay, so the next person I have on my list, I did a lot of reading up on this, was Cassie Anthony. Casey Anthony. Depends how you want to say it. It depends what other languages you speak. So Casey Anthony's case was really interesting, right? She called 911 on July 15th, 2008. Now, her daughter had been missing already, though, for 31 days. and she finally calls to talk to 911 and say, listen, I think there's a problem. That right there is a huge problem. Let me just start off by saying, I'm sorry, you know? And like, I mean, I think it's just crazy that people think in this day and age that you're going to be able to, you know, kind of get away with murder when you're not a rocket scientist or something. Like, I don't think that's even possible, you know? And so, like, I think that's the difference in the normal and abnormal. They kind of cross over and they think that this is normal, but honestly, you know, we'll get to it in process here. So 31 days her daughter, you know, Kaylee is missing before she's calling 911 to say, hey, you know, my daughter's missing. And it's just like, whoa, why did you wait a month to do that? First of all, shouldn't that be the very first thing if you can't find your child within, you know, a few hours? And not only that, the girl was only 2 years old. That you should know where that child is at all times. Are you serious? So December 8th, of course, Cassie, I don't know how you guys want to say it. She was, of course, charged with murder after skeletal remains were found in a wooden area, you know, in a garbage bag with a blanket and, you know, not covered up very well and all of that stuff. Like, just plain stupid of them. Like, and so the father's trying to say there was a water accident and she drowned, and, you know, Casey's just clueless. But she looks super guilty with how she has, you know, represented herself and all of that and what she did in the process of her daughter going missing. But I see some of the comments here. I have no idea if she's actually pregnant, but definitely crazy case, right? So Time magazine described this case as the social media trial of the century. July 5th, 2011, the jury found Casey not guilty of murder, but rather 4 misdemeanors for the fact that she had lied to police and authorities for this process, you know, providing false information to law enforcement. So she gets credit for time served and ends up being released July 17th, 2011. And by January 2013, the Florida overturns 2 of the misdemeanor charges. You know, it's just crazy. The remains were actually found, but they can't decide how she died. There's duct tape there. It's just like, what the hell happened? You know, I wonder how she sleeps at night, to be honest with you. What do you guys think here? Seriously. Psychopath extraordinaire, Dana says. You think Casey's mom called? Tracy says. What's Daily Mail reporting, Sunkissed? I personally got my information from Wikipedia. I find it's a little bit more reliable than some of the news channels out there and stuff, you know. She's not pregnant. She said she wants another child. Well, geez. That's scary, personally, just saying. Casey is living in Florida still. Yeah, poor little Kaylee. I mean, she was just 2 years old, you guys. That's small. And then the father helping to sort of cover this up, you know, he's saying one story, Casey's saying another. Like, what's going on in that family? I'd like to know. She went clubbing. Yeah, there was some very odd behavior from her, considering that she had lost a child. She didn't seem to waste too much time at the wake, right? I mean, she looked like she was rather happy. I don't know. I find that really strange. There's still hospitals. Let's see if I can't make this bigger. Nice, perfect. So she says she sleeps pretty damn well, and that's a quote. Wow, that's whatever though, you know. I'm not here to judge. I'm just stating that, like, after reading through some of that case, I was a little bit, yeah, like 31 days you waited before you even alerted anybody that someone was missing, and she's that little. I mean, she would have died of starvation if she would have been even alive somewhere for that many days by herself. Something like just weird, you know. Her mom took the responsibility for the internet search. Kara, what was the internet search for? You love Roseanne in the very beginning back in the 80s. Yeah. Yeah, she was good. It was a good show. I enjoyed it too. I was a fan as well. So, when it all happened, even I was just a little bit like, Roseanne, like, shoot, I don't know why you said that. Because, it just kind of puts a target on her back in a negative way. And for somebody who was a comedian and sort of adhering to that side of the world, it sure wasn't very funny what she had said. It was really serious. So I knew it. I knew it froze. I don't know why that happens, and I missed a whole bunch of comments because of it. Whatever. What are we talking about? Oh, the chloroform. Yeah, the chloroform and the duct tape. Yes, like honestly. And then the father says that she had drowned. So it's just like, well, what's the truth? What happened? Why is this family covering something like this up? I mean, a child died. That's no light thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I considered putting Jodi Arias on my list, but I found a few other people that I thought might be interesting to talk about with you guys. So, but yes, I know, like, she was definitely a manipulator, top notch type deal, and very psychotic in my opinion. That woman, I dislike her as well. So, all right. So, you want to know who my third person to talk about with you guys is? And this might bring up some pretty huge debate topics, but his name is Logan Paul. He is probably most famously remembered right now for the trip that he took to the Japanese suicide forest in 2017. And he found a dead body and decided to film it. Now, purposely, he was looking for adventure, right? That's just his personality. That's what he was trying to do, was find the next most viewed thing that everybody would really be intrigued or shock factor, wow factor type thing. So, Logan Paul decided to go on this trip and go and visit this Japanese forest called, Suicide Forest. So, looking for the adventure. Of course, he goes off the beaten path, away from where they're supposed to. And yeah, Logan Paul is a vlogger, and he was popular, you guys. He had like 23 million followers. That's no small pie piece there. But he quickly became the bad guy once people started to see this video, and it only took 2 days for him to gather about 600,000 views before YouTube was getting kind of crapped all over for even having it still up and running for people to see. Now, the part that I find that was probably the worst was that he was zooming in on the hands. This is somebody who had hung themselves in the woods there from a tree, and they had sort of stumbled across this. And it wasn't really planned, but I mean, I can understand why so many people would get upset about it. At the same time, as I kind of think him too deserves a bit of forgiveness. He put forward a pretty sincere apology, in my opinion. I did watch it. I feel like he understands the severity of of such a topic, of the suicide topic, and that there's a lot of people that are really sad and hurting in the world and that are contemplating this road. And I don't know, like, he was really looking for that wow factor and everything, you guys, but yeah, like, it's pretty intense that he actually zoomed in on it multiple times. He blurred the face and stuff like that, but you know, it was in my opinion, it was an honest mistake in a sense. Like, I just think he was desensitized and he didn't really understand how sensitive some people would be to such a topic and such a thing being shown. So, and it was disrespectful to the person who had passed away, right? We don't even know who that is. We don't know who their family is. They have aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, relatives, all, alive around. So honestly, I can understand why it would have upset so many people. However, I think that, his apology was sincere, and I think it would be safe to move on. He still has a nice 18 million followers, so it's not like he's totally hurting. But when you see such a huge drop like that and you feel that huge amount of hate or people attacking you for doing something in the wrong way, it can really be detrimental to your own, self. So I can understand why he feels bad. At the same time as, I think that it would be okay for us to move on from this. I kind of know what this whole situation is like because I had a really close friend of mine pass away in Winnipeg, and my ex and I had gone to the funeral. And my friend, him and I had grown up together. He was a really cool dude. His nickname was Fat Boy. He was a really awesome guy. He was really solid. He ended up overdosing, and my ex ended up taking a picture with him at the burial. And I remember thinking, that's not very nice. But he did go and ask permission from the parents and the family before he went up there. So, but I still remember feeling a little bit like, I don't know, you shouldn't. I don't think you should do that, but it wasn't me, it wasn't my camera, it was him, so I kind of understand, you know what I mean, because I've sort of seen this myself. And it's just a little bit I don't even know what the right word is to say here. It's a little bit morbid, right? Like but so the fact that my ex had like asked permission from the family and stuff kind of comforted me a little bit that they were okay with that. But at the same time, even I was a little bit weirded out by it. So you can imagine if this gentleman's family somehow stumbled across the video that Logan Paul had put up with this person hanging in the tree, that it might have been, very hurtful yet again. And who knows what it could have created bad vibes wise towards, other people in the family, and what they maybe would have done after seeing that or something, So really, really, really crazy. Logan is pretty young, Lanky Jen. Yes. Yeah, he's pretty young. And he found a dead body, or you found a dead body in front of your mom's apartment, and we called the cops. Still can see the image vividly. That was 7 years ago, Christopher says. Yeah, it's kind of it's probably pretty weird, I can't say that I've ever stumbled across a dead body, but I have been to a couple of funerals, a few, and it's always a really sad thing. So, open casket or not, it's always really difficult, right? So many people are sad at that time, and it's just a difficult situation, right? So he did catch quite a bit of backlash from it, but he didn't completely die, He still has quite a large fan base and stuff, but I believe that he kind of deserves that forgiveness too, I think he learned his lesson is what I'm trying to say. And, he probably wouldn't do that the same way if he were to ever come across this in another situation. So California's defense threw everything but the sink at the wall to create doubt. What are you talking about? Could you be wrong? The jury wasn't going there. This is ridiculous. DA should have never sought the death penalty. Who are we talking about? But yeah, so I thought that was going to be a pretty interestingly heavy topic to kind of debate, because I'm not trying to desensitize it. It is pretty serious. You definitely don't want to film someone's dead body without their family's permission and stuff like that. But however, the way that he found it was pretty accidental. And so, like, I kind of understand, I can see how it all went down. I can see that he was, of course, looking for the wow factors. And, he definitely probably should have handled that in a different way, but you can't go back now. So you might as well just either accept the apology, right? Or not. So, but could you be wrong? Are you talking about Kaylee? You don't believe the dad ever molested her? Well, we'll never be able to prove or disprove it with only finding skeletal remains. They can't even see what the cause of death was. So, hello, Hazel. How are you? ¿Cómo está? Feliz Navidad. I was thinking about for Christmas coming up with like 10 languages or something to say, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you guys. He stumbled once on his video, but I cannot watch. You know what? It was already kind of taken down. There's been a few YouTubers that have done like a discussion about his video, showing clips from it, but not all of it. So I just think it was an honest mistake, and he can't take it back now. So we might as well just kind of move on. He's sort of learned his lesson, and hopefully that's it. He'll never do that again, type thing. Right? In a Victorian era, people photograph their loved ones who passed away. Yeah, it used to be an art thing, but I think, I don't want to say this the wrong way and get anybody upset, because I'm really not trying to do that, but we sort of modernized things a little bit, or things changed with other cultures, and things were just done differently, right? So Logan was probably looking for content views, and when he was in China, he acted disrespectful. However, good to forgive, and hopefully he learned. Yeah, I totally agree, Lisa. And I'm such a positive person about it. It's like, okay, you did that. Now let's move on and don't do that again, kind of thing, right? But exactement. The John Bonet case is one that bothers you a lot. Hey, Kit, could you be wrong? That was a really interesting. Like, there's still questions with that. Minu, stop. So the fourth person that I put down on this list was, I don't know if you guys are going to even know the name or not, but it was Martin Shkreli, I want to say. Shkreli. I don't even know how to say the last name properly, in all honesty. He was the gentleman that raised the price of Daraprim, the drug used to help AIDS patients, malaria patients, cancer patients. He raised the cost of that drug by 5,000%. This was a drug that many people needed, and it was now sort of out of reach financially and stuff like that, or it was super expensive. He was sort of the pharma bro, but he unnecessarily sort of jacked up the price the cost of this potentially life-saving drug medicine, and it wasn't illegal, but he kind of lied to some investors about how much money he was really dealing with as far as that all went. And so that's what he was actually arrested for. However, it was kind of ethically really wrong that he did what he did because people actually needed, to take this medicine. So he, being arrested, committing security fraud, misleading his investors. It was a reality check, and he literally cried when he got sentenced 7 years plus $75,000 fine. He ended up like selling or sort of reneging the possession of a Wu-Tang Clan album that he had purchased for about $2 million. He sort of boasted about this. This was like a good find for him. So he had to sort of give that up and, go to jail for a 7-year sentence and fined $75,000. So, it kind of created for him to be one of America's most hated people. He was moved from New York jail in Fort Dix, and he was, moved to kind of a low security federal prison in New Jersey. So really, really different, but there's all kinds of reasons why people don't like people, right? Now that's what I kind of wanted to give you as a broad, spectrum. Like Roseanne Barr, she said something a little bit kind of ignorant and racist in a sense. And, Casey Anthony, she just kind of straight up lied to police and law enforcement. And, her 2-year-old daughter was dead. And we still don't think we have proper answers to that. Logan Paul, he goes on a trip and he films a dead body, so that kind of stirred a lot of people the wrong way. And of course, now we have Martin, who, jacks the price up on a medication that people actually need to survive. So this is a really broad spectrum of a debate that we can talk about to, to say, like, listen, do these people deserve that forgiveness? And I'm adamant that I think that they do, but I'm a positive person who goes, all right, I see it for what it is. Everybody's trying to make a buck, but I think Martin got a lot greedy there, and he really should have been, he as somebody that's creating medicines and in the scientist form of that field, I think you should care a little bit about your patients, and they're not his patients, but you know what I mean. If you're trying to save lives, to put it financially out of reach for people that they can't even afford to save their life, even if they wanted to, that's really mean. You know what I mean? That's like dangling an apple in front of somebody who hasn't eaten in 3 days. Like it's just mean, right? So whatever. And that analogy probably really sucks, but I couldn't really think of anything else. I guess probably in front of an animal or a donkey as you're walking, right? It's just mean, there's no need for it, right? I mean, he probably has a lot of money. Like, what did he have to give back? Because he had cheated millions between 2009 and 2014. He was ordered to pay back $7.3 million in a brokerage account and some personal assets. And like one of those assets was that Wu-Tang Clan album that he paid like $2 million for. So like, I get it, but like, dude, I think you were just a smidgen too greedy there. I mean, seriously. I mean, whatever though, like he got punished, I get it. He gets it. Let's hope. And that when he comes out and carries on with, the next, life-saving thing, he doesn't do that again, because it isn't illegal to jack the price, but that's just unethical in every way to do that. 5,000%. I mean, ouch, so let's see what some of you guys think about what I'm talking about here. You agree with me, Dana, saying there's something morbid about the photographing of the dead. Yeah, there's something a little bit off about that. I'm cute, Christopher. Very intellectual. You're on my YouTube. This first time I've seen your YouTube. I like you. You're interesting. Oh, that's so cool. Well, it's so nice to hear that like new people come in because I'm never sure how that gets spread. You can see in the analytics sometimes like what YouTube is sort of suggested for you or put forward for you and stuff like that, but you don't actually see it. So when you hear it come back, it's like, oh, cool. So they are doing it on their end. That's so cool. Thanks, YouTube. That's awesome. So Amy Love, yeah, that's a tough one too. I can't quite remember that case though. I usually have to like do a little bit of research and stuff before and I had stumbled across this. It was an article and it was about like the top 20 hated people in the world or something like that. A lot of them were political and I have no political agenda in a sense, so I really just don't feel like I really want to talk about it, you know? I don't know. I'm not here to really ruffle those feathers, you know what I mean? So, let's see. Casey. Greed is probably one of the most heinous characteristics of human beings. Dana, you are 100% right. And it's really unfortunate. I've actually worked for a really, really big department store that was exactly that, just 100% greedy. And, you know, it's unfortunate. It is so unfortunate. Because, you know, I don't know, like how many of you guys think this way, but we can't take any of this stuff with us. You know what I mean? When we pass away, like it's all gone. So what the hell does it matter? All these, you know, materialistic stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that we need a certain amount of materialism. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm just saying we don't need the excess of materialism that's sort of, you know, the greed that's out there of having to have the next best thing when the last thing made works just fine still. You know what I mean? But that's just how I view my life. You know, I don't need a whole bunch of lanky Jen. I'll show you little dollars and and stuff. That's cute. I like it. But we don't need a whole bunch of materialistic stuff in order to be happy, right? I mean, that stuff just temporarily makes you sort of happy in the moment of the whatever it is, the rush of buying it or the opening it or whatever it is that you love about, you know, shopping for the new thing. You know, it sure doesn't last, right? I mean, the new feeling of it goes away relatively quickly, and then you're left searching for the next thing that's going to give you that excitement and that passion to open again and stuff like that. So I just think there's more to life than materialism, and we can sort of, in my opinion, we can find more value with each other than in things. But you know, that's just me and my mentality and how I think. So, could you be wrong is asking, do you think about Darlie Roudier case? You'll have to refresh my memory on it, and I'll write this down. I do remember that name, but I shed like crazy, you guys. Roudier. There was another one. I'll have to scroll up. That you. Hang on one second. Oh, I'm pretty sure that would be in it. Yes. I wish it was the mug for you all, and I'm sorry to be so rude and walk away like that, but that's just my meds. So, sorry, that's very rude of me. I shouldn't just get up and walk away like that, but very much appreciate your patience. All right. The John Bonet one was so messed up because we haven't even, that case has not even been fully solved yet, right? I mean, we still don't have answers in that case, and I don't think we ever will. Unless someone comes forward or something. I don't know. Joy comes from connection with other humans. I'm so glad they deliver on Saturdays. Oh, I was actually thinking that I was going to have to kind of stretch out what I had for the weekend, but yes, I don't have to worry about it over the holidays. It's just so great. I don't know how many of you guys are spending holidays with family and friends and loved ones and stuff, but my friends live like an hour away. I have no vehicle and I don't have any family. So I will be spending Christmas here with you guys to do our live. How fun, right? I mean, I understand if most of you guys are busy. I totally don't expect you to tune in if you've got things you're doing and family, cooking and all that jazz. I'm very happy that you guys all have that. I wish I had that, but I don't. So Tuesday is actually Christmas Day, so I'm gonna just keep on schedule. Try to keep it fun. Maybe we'll just have a Christmas drink, and I'll try to have a bunch of different languages on how to say Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas or something like that. You know, I'm so like I first off, I don't have a passport, right? And it takes money to travel, and I just don't really have that, you guys. I kind of I'm not that well established yet. We're getting there, but slowly, of course. Slowly. So I'm gonna try to keep a happy face on. I can't guarantee that it will be all happy because I tend to tear up quite easily. So if I think about it too long, like right now, I'm trying not to focus on the topic that I'm thinking about because it will make me cry. It will literally make me cry. So I will try to have a happy face on and we'll spend some time together. You're just over the border. Oh, okay. Dawn, I'm not sure why you're asking me that. I think that all women are beautiful. If that's what you mean. Well, thank you, Cyber Killer. Don't kill it. Keep it clean and classy, please. I don't mind the compliment, but okay. No, I don't. Okay, so let's move on so I don't have to focus on this because this is a sad subject. But I am real. Wear my heart on my sleeve. You guys can all clearly tell. So, okay. So, Martin was sort of one of America's biggest hated people for what he had done, jacking up the prices like he did. Being in the low security federal prison that he's in now, I think, they're not locked up anymore. They're just walking around, it's a much different situation than when he was in New York for sure. And I don't think he'll be hated forever. I honestly feel like he kind of learned his lesson that when you when you do that to society and the world, that people will come forward and make a fuss about it, and he will have to sort of reevaluate how he wants to put forward his next medication that can help somebody and stuff like that, right? So the final person, which of course, how could I go an entire show and not talk about the Watts case, right? Everybody is just Watts, 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 Watts. So the fifth person of, most negatively viewed right now that I have is, of course, Nicole Kessinger. She definitely, in my opinion, has some sort of information that she's hiding, and I'd like to know more about her whereabouts. The person, Jim Gutoski, that she was sort of using as an alibi, but yet not really using as an alibi. We don't really know because we have not received any of the information that he was questioned or that anything happened further other than the interviews that that she did with law enforcement. So, this Jim person seems like a pretty honorable character, to be honest. He's a geologist. He's a graduate from Stetson University with honors from class of 80. He's got two NCAA Division I records, which is National Collegiate Athletic Association. So he seems like a really reputable type person. And, there's really, it's just like, where is this guy? Did he talk with law enforcement? Was he the person? Because this guy, Jim, is actually from Milwaukee. And Nicole Kessinger's phone call at 6:16 in the morning from Frederick, Colorado. Now, I don't care if she was 16 miles away from the Watts home. What was she doing in Frederick when she was trying to tell the law enforcement that she was with Jim? She was calling Jim. That's two different things. If she wasn't with him and she's calling him from Frederick, that's not the same thing, lady. So I think Jim is the geologist that Jim Gutoski is supposedly the person that Nicole Kessinger was with when Chris Watts was disposing of his family. But yet her phone pings in the Frederick area. Whether she was 16 miles away from the Watts home or not doesn't really much freaking matter right now. Why was she in Frederick area at all when she didn't tell law enforcement that? She told them she was with Jim. She wasn't with Jim in Frederick, was she? Like, she's called Milwaukee. Jim's phone pinged in Milwaukee. So, like, obviously there's a lie, a clear-cut freaking lie here. And I'd like to know what they did about that. Did they look into Jim? Did they polygraph these people? Did they help Chris Watts? Did the dogs find any like bodily fluids in anybody's truck? Or if they didn't find it in the Anadarko truck, then, maybe they would have found it in hers. Did they find any camera footage on any highway of a smaller gray truck following his Anadarko truck? Is there any way to see camera footage on the highway going to the Survey 319 site? Because we know that there's no cameras at the Survey 319 site that we're working, right? That's got to be an expensive thing to keep up on. So, and, because I got all misty-eyed, you guys, just give me a second. I'm going to just blow my nose. Sorry. Very sorry. It's always so rude. But I am like, I'm a crier. So, it happens. I'm sorry. Especially when we get into sensitive topics. So I can chuckle about it now, but it's really no laughing matter. I laugh away the stress of it, but it is quite heartbreaking. So, yeah, what I would like to know is, have they found any evidence of a second truck helping in this situation or being there? Because, the neighbor that saw a truck in the area, was that truck ever eliminated to be someone else's truck or something? Or was it Nicole Kessinger's vehicle? But the cell phone thing, you just can't get away from, you guys. I mean, she was clearly in the area and she clearly lied saying she wasn't. And we know this. So, the petition, as far as I can see, has over 100,000 signatures between the 3 or 4 petitions that are going on with her, because some of them have to do with not profiting from this crime, whereas other petitions have to do with actually having her re-questioned by authorities. So I don't know if they're going to actually take this into consideration and do something about this, or if we're just talking in circles, Okay, the thing is, Quinn, excuse me, you guys. The thing is that when he pleaded guilty and all of that, there would have been, if he would have protected her for something in that, that would have been disclosed in the document. Like, I don't see them just releasing pieces of his, arrest affidavit and on pieces of his, document disclosure. So Was her vehicle gray? That's my understanding, Carol, is that it is. So it is a Toyota Ford Runner. Yes, 4Runner. Sorry. Dana Nikkei is under police protection when she's everything she does that involves technology is being watched. In the document they said that they told her they were going to have to get a warrant to get her GPS coordinates to find out where her whereabouts. We never did get to see that. It wasn't released to us, to the public. And I'm certainly not on the ends of this situation where I get the first release like some other people. So there's been no news of this. There's been no release that I know of. And it is frustrating. I feel like there's answers that need to be, found out here. So sure it would have. Well, you would think that something like that would have to be disclosed to us, that was something that happened, but who knows? Honestly, the problem with the laws, you guys, is that they literally change from state to state to province to province to country to country, pretty kind of drastically in some senses. So it's difficult to kind of stay on top of each and every little branch of that. But I honestly feel like there's more here that we just don't know yet. So that was my sort of top 5 negatively viewed people in the world type thing. And I kind of feel like you guys can all make up your own mind as to whether or not you still don't like those people, if you ever didn't like those people due to what they had done in the world. They all kind of did something a little bit differently, right? So 5 different people, 5 different things where a bunch of people in the world got miffed about. But you can make up your own mind and definitely, fill in the comment section what your thoughts are of each of these people, and if you still like them or you have not forgiven them and you don't think they deserve that forgiveness or something. I'd love to know your thoughts either way. Well, as far as her damage control goes, nobody said anything to me. And I probably feel like I'm one of the people that have said the most. And nobody's coming at me to say anything. So, yeah, it's Gutoski. Yeah. But whatever. Like, I feel like she needs to be questioned again. And I'd really like to know if those petitions are going to actually be reinforced and something's going to happen about it, or how many more signatures do we need in order to make that happen. Excuse me. I think they are pleased with the result of Chris and looking no further. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel that they're doing about it too. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not law enforcement, right? So I honestly, like, it is their call, but at the same time, if she had something to do with this, or she could have stopped it and she didn't. 4 people aren't here anymore because of this. Um, maybe the families know more than we know, and that's why they're kind of able to just, let the media frenzy happen and not really combat or say anything about some of these things and questions. They possibly have already seen a lot more than we have as far as the case goes. Um, they were involved. It would have been disclosed to them. I have tried a few times to reach out to Nicole Atkinson in regards to talking about her best friend. Shanann's birthday is coming up around the corner on January 10th, and I kind of wanted to do a really nice tribute, and I will. But I had hoped that I could get some positive feedback from Nicole, where she is just brutal, rude, and she's like, "I'm not talking to you about Shanann's family, and I'm not talking to you about Shanann," and I don't know what's going on with that. She has basically insinuated that the family doesn't like me. So whatever, to each their own. I'm actually a really kind person that's, that actually fell in love with your family. So regardless of the shortcomings and the problems that you all had, I still fell in love with your family. But regardless, I'm not sure why they wouldn't like me. I have no freaking idea, to be honest with you. It's just actually kind of shocking. Because when I sent the card, I got a card back from Sandra. So I don't know. Like, I just refuse to bother them. I'm not somebody who's going to hound them. If somebody else if some other YouTubers have had contact with them and, maybe they had a bad experience and they don't want that again, or I have no idea, because I know that there was some communication with Go Lightly in them and stuff like that, but then she was asked to take stuff down and all this. So I don't know what really happened with that communication, but it seems like it didn't go as smoothly as what she was portraying that it did. I just haven't even had the opportunity at all. They're just like, they don't even want to freaking talk to me. Like I'm an alien or something from Canada. So I don't know. Whatever. I'm still going to do a nice tribute to the woman who passed away that we've all fallen in love with, and we're searching for justice for her. We all have questions about why she had to die, how much involvement the other woman had. And you know what? If they don't want to care that I care, I don't care that they don't care, kind of thing, right? It's fine. I refuse to sort of live my life worried about what other people think about me. If they don't want to talk to me or they don't like me for whatever reason that they have, that's their prerogative. They are completely well within their rights to do that. I'm comfortable in my own heart, skin, mind, body, soul. I know who I am, and I have no malicious bone or anything inside of me towards any criminal situation. So, and that's based on the fact of my own criminal experiences and my own traumatic experiences. So whatever, I literally fell in love with her too. So I plan to go ahead and I'm talking about the Ruziks that apparently they don't I don't know, apparently they don't like me or something, and they don't want to talk to me. They don't want nothing to do with me. Nicole Atkinson has been adamantly rude to me about it several times, that I finally said this last time, forget it. I'm not even going to bother contacting anybody again. I tried to reach out to Frankie Jr. and Senior, and literally no response. I said, I sent the card with my condolences, and I got a thank you card back, and that was really sweet. And I don't know, like, I've been really, really, really nice. So I don't know what the deal is, but it is their prerogative, and they are entitled to whatever it is they're feeling and thinking about me. They're within their rights to do so. I just cannot state enough how wrong they are. And I just wish that they could see inside of me to understand, but that's impossible. So they're never going to. So it is just going to be a mute point. However, the girl and the girls that we fell in love with, I still believe deserve a nice tribute. And with Shanann's birthday around the corner, I plan to do something nice for her online for you guys. So regardless of what they think and feel about me, I think it's just pretty rude of them to be the way that they are. But I think Nicole Atkinson's, emergency type lighting situation under law enforcement was really good. I think the case could have been a lot different if she hadn't done that. But her rude attitude and stuff about this whole thing, it just doesn't line up with how she tries to be so friendly and stuff. Like, it just, she in my opinion, she is not very friendly at all. And I mean, we all have our moments. Even I am not always friendly, and I have my moments of being angry, cursing and swearing and telling someone where to go and how to get there and stuff like that. But in this situation, you would think that people would want to come together to share Shanann and her daughter's beautiful life with the world of the people who have fallen in love with her. But fine, I get it. If you don't like me and you don't want to talk to me, like that's your prerogative. I don't really care, to be honest. It's just a little bit hurtful because they're not even giving me a chance to see, how nice of a thing I could make for them. But whatever, I don't understand. Honestly, it's probably the Thrive products. Like the amount of shit found in the toxicology report, she's probably got all that in her freaking system. And like, if I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but she's dropped weight significantly. You can see the difference in her profile pictures just from her banner to her face. I still have her as a friend on Facebook, but I mean, like I said, I will never reach out to her again. She's been rude to me too many times. And all I'm trying to do is something really nice to remember the family by that didn't, in my opinion, have to be murdered. But, whatever. To each their own. We've got your back. I don't know. For those of you that have followed me throughout this Watts trial and process and everything, everybody can see my heart in it. So really audacious in my opinion, but it is her prerogative. She is entitled to act, talk, and be however she wants. And if that's the kind of person she wants to be, then so be it. I don't actually need her to make a nice tribute to the beautiful Shanann, Bella, and Celeste, right? And I mean, I did one already honoring the three of them. The reason I was thinking about doing one was for Shanann's birthday, which is January 10th. So, but yeah, no, I just don't get it. Whatever, like I refuse to focus on it either. I have no need to support that kind of rudeness when I'm just trying to be kind. So, whatever. To each their own. I don't understand it either, Annie. It is what it is. Thanks, Ray. You use Thrive, Bella? That's so cool. So, you know what I was saying? I was actually kind of looking into the products. Did you see the toxicology reports of Shanann, Bella, and Celeste? Bella Koska? If you're still here, did you see that that report? Like, did you actually go through it page by page and sort of read what the findings were? Where they took that blood from and what they found in that blood, blah, blah, blah. That's a really good question. Sunkissed Bella, Bella Koska, do you have side effects? I wonder if she's still here. Maybe she's typing. Let's hope she's still here. Yes, she's still here. It's talking about you like you're not here. Oh man. Thanks, Lanky Jen. That's okay, Tara Lee. She did, Sunkissed. And I attribute that to the Thrive products. Yes, Sarah, I'm just going to stay positive because I refuse to let it run me. People want to be negative and ignorant about something so kind and beautiful. I have no time for that. You can sit on my friends list and just kind of watch my life then, if that's what you want to be like. I really, it makes me sad for her that she feels the need to treat people like this that have fallen in love with a complete stranger, which happened to be her best friend. I personally would be honored if Shanann was my best friend to tell people little bits about her, little stories, or, a picture that maybe nobody else has. Like, check this out. I found this, but whatever. Yeah, dare to be different. It could be the stress of things, but it's just convenient that the toxicology report came out beforehand. And suddenly now she's taking it too, and she is losing a bunch of weight. But she's super cranky too. And that's very obvious. But I would be too if I had a bunch of opiates and methadone and all kinds of other crap in my body. I would be bitchy too. I completely understand. I'm never negative. I can be, boy. Man, sometimes you guys, I start and I just don't finish. I'm just like, and this and this and this and like, I could go on a list as longer than my body as to, things I could complain about. But what's the freaking point? You know what I mean? It's harder to focus on the small good things that are going right, that are putting a smile on my face, versus complaining about the 50 million things that are pissing me off that I have actually no control over. You know what I mean? I mean, pick and choose your battles, right? It only makes sense. Like, if you have no control over a situation, sitting and stewing on it is doing nothing but harming your own self, right? I mean, well, like, that's what I believe. So I'm telling you guys that. I can do exactly that. And I have in the past. You know what I mean? I've been suffering from depression since, like, well, I was diagnosed in 2008, but I'm sure that I suffered from depression far before that too, from other traumatic things that have happened to me. But whatever, you know what I mean? The point is that I went through my life dealing with that depression in various ways. I used drugs and alcohol and sitting on my ass and oh, poor me syndrome and feel sorry for me and blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't get you anywhere. It just hurts you more until you sort of pick yourself up and carry on like, I'm going to fight this world with everything I got. If you don't do that, you're just going to continue losing. And like, there's no point to just sitting around and being negative and just focusing on the bad, because everybody's got bad, but you're trying to see some good. That's what I'd like to be, is a little bit of light to people, right? Like there is positivity out there. There are smiles out there and happy people. It's just, and I'm not all the time like that, you guys. I can revert back. But I try not to stay there, because it doesn't do anything good for me either. It only hurts me too. So I just try to focus on what's going good in my life. And whether or not that was just a cup of coffee that went good for the day, fine, I'll take it. It was a great cup of coffee too, like it was the best. Because I want to laugh. I want to smile, and I don't want to focus on all the shittiness and the bad and the, everybody can do that. We all have it. But how hard is it to focus on the good, right? It's a lot harder. So no negative Nancy's allowed. You're funny. I have a Nancy lady. She's really sweet though. Nancy Eileen, I think her name is. She's a real sweetheart. But, I just think like it's just easy to stay in negative zone, in negative mode. So I'm a lot of light. Well, thank you. You guys are so sweet. I think without you guys, this wouldn't even be happening. Like, this is what makes it happen, is the back and forth together, interacting with each other and bouncing things off of each other and having different ways to look at things, You think I'm bubbly. You love my laughter. Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, I don't stay negative because I realize that it will only put me in a worse state, a worse situation. And the longer you stay there, I find the more unhealthy ways you deal with it. So, it's better to try to stay active. It boosts your immune system, and it makes you physically happy inside to go for that walk, or go for that bike ride, or go for that beach swim, or whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Focus on the good things, because the bad things are just going to bring you down. And we don't need any help with that. We just don't need any help with bringing ourselves down. We got that. We got that part down pat. We need some help with trying to lift our spirits and feel happy in and amongst all of the garbage that is happening in our world around us, in my opinion, right? So I love you guys. I feel like this, I wouldn't be able to do this unless you guys were here with me. So it's an amazing journey. And I think it's a really awesome way to be able to express myself, to share some experiences and help other people. I feel like this helps people to maybe think of things in a different way, or do things a little bit differently. And it'll help each other. I think what we're here to do. So backroading relieves stress. There you go, Rick. See? If that's what you like to do, then definitely, like, make sure you hit those trails, you know, at least once a week kind of thing, at least once a week to kind of get your stress out. So we can all agree we didn't mind hearing you release. Aw. And I try not to make like what I had a YouTube viewer recently contact me and say that um she unfollowed someone that was a YouTube creator based on the fact that the creator was sort of always talking about herself. And I thought, you know what, I kind of don't do that enough. Like, I mean, you guys see me, but you don't know a whole lot about me and what makes me me, right? So sharing those little stories with you guys as to why I'm crime passionate, as to why I'm, so strongly for the justice system, and why that is, I feel like it helps you guys get to know me a little bit better. You might see me, but it helps you get to know me. As far as Nicole Kessinger, I feel like she's probably in hiding, but I don't feel like that's witness protection. I feel like that's probably more like the destination of that house in Denver, place in Denver that nobody knows about, and neighbors don't really care who she is. And like, she's probably changed her appearance or, whatnot. Annie, I make you feel happy. Well, that's so awesome. Bad Bish says, no wonder Nicole Kessinger ever mentioned Nicole Kessinger even mentioned in her interview he would never sleep. Yeah. Bella Koska, I like that one. I know one that like that. Because you make fun of Thrive. No, I don't make fun of Thrive. I don't know. I've even thought about trying it, to be honest. I really have. But who can't use a bunch more energy to kind of go, go, go? But at the same time, I wouldn't want my hair to be all thinned out from it if that's what it was doing. There's too much narcissism on YouTube. You don't see that in me? Well, thanks. I feel like some people have thought that about me because of my YouTube trailer. The trailer is like, a bunch of pictures of me, but I'm the only one who loves me. I'm the only one here that takes pictures of me. I'm the only one who empowers myself. So I feel like, when I'm having a good day and I'm not depressed and I'm good, I take a bunch of really good shots, and then I was able to sort of piece this thing together and make myself look like I'm the investigative genius. I don't know. I was showing, I guess, my self-love about myself with all of you. So it was a fun trailer, but I feel like sometimes people have looked at me like, you are narcissistic. And I mean, I self-love. I make sure that, I feel beautiful. I feel, confident, and I am the only one who takes pictures of me. If I didn't do it, there wouldn't be any. So I don't know. Like, I enjoy sort of being self-love and self-happy and portraying that. Person has heart palpitations they shouldn't take. Sometimes I get heart palpitations. I was just doing my elliptical yesterday and that happened. And then it, like, my chest hurt a little bit, and then it hurt like later on, and I thought, "Ooh, this is not good," cuz heart problems run in my family, and with the amount of stress emotionally that I deal with. Why didn't the coroner mention that the cocaine was in the Thrive products? Probably because that would bring on a lawsuit to point that out directly about them, and nobody's done that yet. And I don't know, like, I have specifically said that if I could get those tested somehow to sort of see if there was those types of things, that's what the FBI ordered. The FBI ordered a sample of those products to test them. And that's why I believe the autopsy reports were withheld, was because it would have only given more questions to the public versus answers. And it would have possibly even created for the defense to have more of an argument to say Shanann was the bad person when really she wasn't. I don't believe for a second that Shanann took intentionally any of those things in her toxicology report. None of them. She seemed like a very healthy person, you guys. And I had speculated and thought, well, maybe could she have had alcohol in her, container and just none of her friends smelled it? Or, I've speculated along the way of different thoughts based on some of the findings in that autopsy report. But at the same time, you can pretty well see, and as well as the interviews that were done with all the friends, the consistency of how many people were saying that, like, honestly, she wasn't a drinker. So the only other, explanation is that the BAC levels are from the decomposition. And I strongly believe that there's no way that those toxicology drugs came from decomposition. That came from ingesting something. And that's something that you can put together with all three of them that they all had in their system. It just seems like that was the one thing. So, all we really need is for somebody who's actually on the products to probably go get a blood screen done to see what is all in their system to be able to tell. Because you guys know what you take versus not take. So, if you're somebody that's taking those products and you feel that you're irritable in certain ways or jumpy or fidgety or shaky or whatever, it could be different things that are in those products that are affecting you differently, and I think that this wouldn't have been found out had Shanann not have passed away. This would have never been found out, in my opinion. This would have just kept going as a secret. That's exactly what it looks like right now, is a big fat secret and a smoke show. So, bye, Dana. Love you, love you. I hear you're leaving here. Schnitzel. To go last minute Christmas gifts. Okay. Mwah. Love you. Love you. Have a safe shopping trip there. Merry Christmas to all of you guys, too. Don't get me all misty-eyed again. It happens too quickly sometimes. Yes, she was nauseous and weak, but she chalked up a lot of that stuff to her pregnancy, and I think she just didn't really know what all was necessarily in her system. So, what makes me stressed? Are you asking me particularly? What makes me stressed is not having a support system, not having family to sort of lean on and count on, ask for help. That's something that I've never had in my life. I've always had to work for everything that I've had. I've never had stuff just sort of given to me. I've always just worked for everything that I've ever had. So definitely the whole family thing stresses me out big time. It just makes no sense to me why we are so divided the way that we are, So specifically asked for the test when it wouldn't be done. You know what? The FBI did ask for the test. I just think it wasn't released. The information wasn't released because if the public found out about this, and it is what I think it is, then it's a pretty huge violation in so many different ways. And that could just bring on a massive lawsuit. But I mean, then what? Then they'll just file for bankruptcy and nobody gets anything anyways. Meanwhile, they were kind of lied to and they took these things thinking they were being healthy. And like, I don't know, it's, you love how emotional I am. You know what, you guys, it's bad. Sometimes I will literally start crying at commercials, like the Huggies commercial. A hug is the best thing of all. And I'm just like, oh yeah, it is. Like I will cry at people getting deals on the Shark Tank. Like, good for you, go girl, you go. You know, I'm such a sap. I seriously. You don't have family either, hun? Aw. Well, at least you have your kiddos, you know? I've got my kitties. I've got 2 cats, so we'll try to have a happy Christmas. Your mom lives 5 minutes away from you and you have no relationship. Wow. Mine is in a completely different province. And again, same thing. Absolutely no relationship. And she has no desire to. It's just sad. I just wonder how they sleep at night, you know? I don't understand. But one day I'm sure I will. Sputnik. Where did that come from again? I think that was Friends. Sherry, did they ask for Thrive testing? Yes, they did. Tara Lee, yes, they did. They just never released it. Gotta love freedom of speech, right? But seriously, if a company ever duped me and I found out like that from getting a blood test done, that I had a bunch of shit in my system that I never ever even knew that I was taking, like, you bet your ass there'd be a lawsuit in a second. I wouldn't even hesitate. And then I'd start gathering up my entire team to join me, because that's bullshit how somebody could do something like that to another human being. You at least should be giving people the opportunity to decide whether or not they want to or not smoke show it as something else when really it's something else. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Alyssa. Oh, you're so sweet. You have 2 8-week-old kittens. I sure don't miss the kitten stage, let me tell you. The not listening and running around, tearing things up and attacking your feet when you're sleeping and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, like, no thank you. Oh, you're talking about somebody. Somebody's actually like here doing this Sputnik person. I don't know. We'll just hide them. Sorry, Ray, I didn't understand what that was, and then I saw Sputnik come up, so I don't know what they're typing. It's like some other language. I usually just don't allow that because I have no idea what is being said. It's not that I don't want the language. It's that I can't even, like, you guys practically probably can't even moderate that, because how would you know? How would you know what the heck they're saying unless you spoke the language, right? You use espresso. You're talking about coffee, Sherry? That really is bullshit. Parents should bring a lawsuit. I wonder if somebody doesn't have something on the works. And, like, in my opinion, it definitely shouldn't be the Watts people either. They shouldn't be the ones that start that. But the Ruzick family won't even fucking talk to me, so it doesn't really matter. You know, I would have told them all of this, but I'm sure they already know. Marry me, Theodore. You're so cute. Aw. You were kicked out at 15? I was signed away over to Child and Family Services, the government. So I stayed in foster homes and group homes, Bella. I can totally relate to you. The kicking out thing, like, my dad was hitting me when I was, you know, not like, it was excessive though. And it was often across the face. It was unnecessary. And I remember at, 14 saying to my best friend when I was babysitting one night, like, he had caught us on the phones that we weren't supposed to be on. And he told me that when he got home that I wasn't going to like him very much anymore. And I was so scared that he was going to just, like, hit me over and over again. I ran away that night and I didn't go home for like 2 or 3 days before I called, and my mom convinced me to come back home. They sounded worried and they sounded like they cared. So I felt safe enough that the anger of me not listening for being on the phones that I wasn't supposed to be on was gone, and I thought I could safely go back home. I went home, and there was a van there to pick me up and take me to Child and Family Services. I ended up in this, I was brought to this house near the outskirts, like the perimeter highway, and I was like tossed into this room. I got thrown a bag that had a little brush and a toothbrush and a toothpaste, and I was told to sit the hell in there and don't even bother to come out, just don't move. And that's where I stayed for the night before my worker came the next day and brought me to another home, and I was bounced all around. I was blocked from having contact with my brothers or my family, and like it was crazy traumatic. I thought I was safe enough to go home to kind of deal with the punishment aspect. I figured he wasn't as angry and he wouldn't hit me, but they fucking gave me away. That was worse. I almost wish that I would have stayed and got hit and not lost my entire family, due to being on a stupid phone. But whatever, it's kind of the past, you got to move on and realize that was then, this is now. But that was the beginning of sort of the traumatic experiences on the streets. And I was a very sheltered child. I didn't have very much experience or knowledge about anything street. So I sure as hell had the rudest awakening, and nobody fucking loves you in this world. Nobody. So you can pretty much imagine that, how abandoned and scared I felt at just fresh 15 years old. Like I just turned, and suddenly I'm, being ushered around government foster homes and group them. And, it was scary as hell, you guys. Like I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, for them to feel what I felt. It was brutal. I don't understand how they could do that either, Mabel, but they felt that they were doing a good thing. I don't know what their reasoning was. They said that they thought I was a negative influence to my brothers and they didn't want me in the family home anymore. Years later, my mom ends up becoming a social worker and taking my kids away from me for making the wrong choices in my own life, dealing with my own traumatic things via drugs and alcohol. So, I clearly didn't make the right choices, and I have to live with that. However, it didn't matter that I ended up changing those. They took my children permanently, and I never, ever got them back. Little did I realize that my lawyer had told me to sign papers that were permanently signing away my parental rights. I didn't intend to ever permanently sign away my children, ever. And yet they not only got permission to take them permanently, but then they left the province and moved. So I don't have a chance to see them, and I haven't for very many years. And it's been like that since 2008. It's just been a roller coaster of bullshit emotions. And to deal with the government through all of this, having been from the government as a teenager, later on returning because of my own stupid mistakes and dealing with that through drugs and alcohol, like I'm not the best person. I've made my own mistakes, but it is who I am, and it isn't who I stayed. So what makes me most upset about it is that nobody ever turned around to look back and see what programs I had taken, did I clean myself up? Did she stop doing drugs? I actually went for 2 years of drug testing to prove that was before they even got left the province. And it didn't matter. We never went back to court, as I was told by my lawyer we would go. It was just wrong on every single freaking level. And it was what made me decide to take the legal course so that I could try to combat some of this myself. And then I ended up hearing from my family, and my daughter specifically telling me that if I got lawyers involved and tried to take her back from my parents, she would stop talking to me. So it literally halted right there. I didn't want her to stop talking to me, which this past April, she decided she didn't want to speak to me anyways. So that's my story, though. That's my truth. And these are my mistakes, that I have to live with for the rest of my life. and it's never going to change. And it's so hard to deal with. It is so hard. All I have is me to blame for it, yet it doesn't matter to my family, you know? It's brutal hard. So there's some of my story, but I'm not perfect, I have made my fair share of mistakes. So and I had always planned to sort of tell you guys all of this because first off, I don't ever want you guys looking back into my life and saying, that I wasn't honest or that I wasn't upfront or, I lied about something. I want you guys to see the real me. Mistakes and all, you deserve that. So, yeah, it's sad, It's also too late though, like this happened more than 10 years ago, you guys. I mean, my oldest is now 21 years old and he hasn't talked to me in years because, he sort of has this negative view of me because of the mistakes that I've made. I hope one day I'll get my forgiveness, but who knows? Your French, Lila? I am very proud of where I am, Daisy, but it's very heartbreaking nonetheless, especially around the holidays. To go through things the way it sort of happened and never go back to court, like it was never something that we got back to say, like, listen, I wasn't even in my right mind to sign something permanently. So, I kind of feel like I was misrepresented and I definitely wasn't in my right mind to make that kind of a decision. So, thank you, Paula. Thank you, guys. This is not a dating site, yeah. But, I get my strength, like I'm okay. But this is what I'm talking about how it's easy to stay focused on the bad versus picking yourself up and moving forward. Like I'm trying to be a voice for other people, share their stories, spread their awareness, I've got to do something different now. I'm never going to be, a mother to my children and they're quickly growing up. My youngest is going to be 16 this year. So I'm sorry. I figure it's just probably best that you guys understand that I'm not perfect, I'm sitting here wanting justice for a lot of the same things that you guys are wanting justice for. And we've all made mistakes, right? So who is any one person better than the other to judge them, right? We've all made bad choices in our lives. None of us are better than the other person to start judging them, right? So that's why I'm so adamant about that, because I made my mistakes too. And I don't think I deserve to be judged as harshly as I am, but it's a fact. So, I have to deal with that on an everyday basis. Bye, Melanie. Goof, bye. That's funny. But, I appreciate your guys' love and support and, the fact that I can be real and raw with you and that you can see the real me, that I'm not a smoke show. I'm not trying to, fluff you and be something I'm not or pretend or whatever. So, I think we all deserve second chances. And that was kind of my reasoning for talking to you about some of these negatively viewed people today, is that, they've all sort of suffered some pain and hurt from negative things that they have done or said, and they're in the public eye. So it was sort of far more detrimental to their, success or not, that some things like this happened, right? But none of us should be judging the other person because we've all sort of made mistakes, and I'll be the first one to stand here and sit here and tell you guys that. So, it's unfortunate that some people are stuck. That's very true, and it is what it is. One day I hope that knock comes at the door or the phone rings and it is, efforts being made on the other end, but it is what it is. And I can't sit here and dwell on it. I need to move on to be happy because the depression that I deal with isn't going to get better if I focus on the negative. The depression's only going to subside when I see happy things or I do things that make me happy. And if that's just having a cup of tea in the middle of the day, well, then do it if that makes you happy, but we just don't have enough of that. And focusing on the negative does nothing but bring us down. So, you guys can see I have a lot of negative I could focus on, but I don't want to sit there for long. I just want you guys to understand me a little bit better. And that'll hopefully help us grow closer together, and I will take that person out of the thing. I'll just hide them from the channel. Sorry, Alyssa. I know you're trying to tell them to go away. I'll approve your comment because you're so frustrated, and I understand. But I think it takes a lot of extra energy to sort of bring that laughter out and try to find that happy spot. So that's what I feel like doing. I think it's better to do that than to focus on all the negative, which I have a lot of. I just don't want to focus on it. So 10 years is not so long, but I've missed so much that to me it feels like a lifetime. So holidays especially, Sunkissed. Thank you, Chef Daisy. Takes more energy to be angry, yeah, and to hate than be positive and love. You're right. You're very, very right. See, exactly. Dare to be different. I do have people that care. My support system is small, but they are there. Specifically, Tara Conway is a really close friend of mine that I grew up with. You'll love her. And then my bestie, her name is actually, well, her nickname is Bella also. But she's further away and busy with little children, so it's harder to hang out and stuff. But you can relate, DJ. Yeah. So I'm actually not easily offended, but I'll just show your rude commentator there, Latifa, just because I actually feel like you might get attacked yourself for saying something like that here. So I'll just let that happen naturally. But I think I feel really sorry for you that you have to call people down in order to lift yourself up. That's really sad. They will come around. Yeah, well. All right. We can't stay here, you guys. So, yeah, Laura, I figured somebody would jump on top of that because that's just crazy. But how some people actually think that it's okay to go around the world, demeaning and insulting and putting others down is just plain crazy. That there's actually adults out in the world that do that is just nuts. I gotta laugh at them because I feel nothing but sorry for them. I find it's just crazy that there's actually people out there that you know get off on that. But I really appreciate your guys' hugs and that I can be honest and upfront with you all. And that you've just sort of gotten to know a little bit of me. So we all hug you. Thanks, Loney. I appreciate it. I like tea, with a little bit of honey and milk. I know Starlight's like tea, but I really like my red wine too. We'll have a drink on Christmas together. I figure that's appropriate. Have a celebratory drink together. So, this has been really great getting to know each other and all my bawling and crying and whatever. I'm sorry. Sometimes my heart just gets touched and I can't hold it back. So, yeah, I am who I am. But thank you guys. I hope you guys all have a really good day. Yeah. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. And we will see you again soon. Okay. Bye for now. Have a great rest of the day. TGIS. And we'll see you again soon. Okay. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Bye for now.